Hello, 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 and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Beverly Lucas, and I am the host of For the Love of Cooking Fridays. What do I do on Fridays? I try to show you how to make a homemade meal that is always better than the restaurant. You have to trust me on this. It is always better than the restaurant. Well, what are we going to make today, Beverly? Well, I have all my ingredients in front of me, so let me just explain to you a little bit about what we're making. I had some turkey wings that I bought. It's about 6 turkey wings, and I thought I was going to make a turkey soup. So then I thought, yes, we can make a turkey soup. And then I remembered that I had some pearl barley. So we are going to make a turkey barley soup. And it's going to be creamy. Why is it going to be creamy? Because not only are we using turkey, we are also using heavy whipping cream, and that is at the end. So to begin, this is going to be kind of like a process, so I just want you to stick with me. You don't have to do it this way, so I'm going to tell you about another way that you can do it. So when you're making any type of chicken, vegetable, turkey soup, you got to have stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own turkey stock. So I'm going to make my turkey stock first, then I'm going to make the soup. So as you can see here, my turkey wings are raw, so we're going to cook them, but we're not just going to cook them alone. So what I have here is I have 2 stalks of celery, I have some carrots, I have some bell peppers that I had left over in the refrigerator. We always want to use what we have left over. I have some shallots, so that's what we're going to use for the stock. Okay, so what I'm doing first is I'm putting the water in my stock pot. So I already have 6 cups of water, and this is going to make 8. So that is 8 cups of water. Other ingredients that I did not mention is I have some fresh thyme. It is the last time that I'm going to use thyme from my garden. So we're going to put that in there. I have 2 bay leaves. Actually, I have 3. I have a little one here. And then I am using some chicken bouillon. So I'm going to use chicken bouillon. So you may be saying, like, what is stock? Stock is actually the juices from the meat. So if it's chicken stock, it's from the chicken cooking down and all the juices coming out of the chicken. So for the turkey, it's going to be the same way. But since I'm making with 6 turkey wings, I'm going to need a lot of stock. So this is going to cook down. So there's 6 cups here. When I finish, there probably will be maybe 4 cups left because the turkey is going to have to cook, and that's what's going to make the stock. So I have my turkey wings here, and I did not season them. All I did was take them out, and I washed them off because, you know, we wash our meat, all meat. And we're going to put them in here. And also to this, I am going to add all of these vegetables. Carrots, my peppers, my shallots. I only had 1 shallot, so we're going to use that. And then I have stalks of celery. And you can see that I cut them up in chunks because once this cooks down and I have the juice, I'm going to strain this so it is just stock. It will not be chunks of vegetables. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of poultry seasoning. I have some cracked pepper seasoning shaker from Wegmans. We're going to use that. I have some garlic, and I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of garlic. Okay, so we are going to need some salt. So I'm going to put, even though I have the bouillon cubes, which have salt, but they're low sodium bouillon cubes. So we're going to put that in there, and we're going to let this cook down, and it's probably going to take about 2 hours. So we're going to let this come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top on it, I'm going to turn it down, and I'm just going to let it simmer. So in the meantime, we're still going to go ahead and we're going to get the soup ready, the other ingredients of the soup. Okay, so the other ingredients that we are going to use in the soup that we're not going to strain out are going to be some more carrots. We have some peppers, but this time I'm using yellow peppers. I'm using yellow peppers because of the sweetness of the pepper. So this is gonna have some sweetness to it, even though, if you know me, we're gonna add sugar because I put sugar in everything. We have the other half of the shallot. We have some mushrooms that I have chopped up. and we have some celery. So some of the ingredients that we use for the stock, we're also using for the soup. However, once this is done, we are going to strain this. So all we're left with is the juices or the stock from the turkey. I wanted something green. I hardly ever use canned goods, but I had these string beans from the pandemic when we were all buying everything and I had to throw things out because they had expired. So I had this one can of string beans that I am going to use. Before I cooked the way I cook now, I used to love canned string beans. Put it in with some potatoes and a little bit of garlic and onions. I used to love it. Now, all I want is fresh green beans, but I didn't get them from the store. We're not going out. We're going to use what it is that we have. Because one thing about cooking and the love for cooking is that you get to use everything that you have. So even with this barley, I bought this barley last year because my church was on a fast, so we couldn't eat meat. So we had to have things that had protein and fiber. And barley is filled with a lot of fiber. It is a grain, and it is absolutely delicious. And I'm going to get my vegetables softened. And that's about 3 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to let that melt, and then we are going to add our vegetables. Are you with me? No. Are you really with me? Come on with me. Okay, so my butter is melted. And to that, I'm going to add my shallots, the celery, the yellow peppers. What we're going to do is we're going to let this simmer. And I'm going to wait to put the mushrooms in. We don't want the garlic to burn. And the carrots, because they are sliced so thinly, I will not put these in until we add the stock. So the mushrooms take on the flavor of whatever you're cooking it with. So I like to add the mushrooms right before I add the garlic so that it's fragrant, so it gets into the mushroom, so that the mushroom has some garlicky flavor to it. Okay, so our vegetables have softened. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my mushrooms. And this is about, I don't know, 1.5 cups of mushrooms. It smells so good. And I'm going to add that last teaspoon of garlic. To this, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of white wine, Moscato, my favorite. When you add alcohol to food, you are not adding the alcohol. The alcohol actually cooks out. What you're adding is the flavor. But we're going to let that cook out. And then this is going to be ready. And all we have to do is wait for the turkey stock. Okay, in the meantime, we're going to get our barley started because we're going to cook that separately. We're cooking it separately for a couple of reasons. We could cook it within the soup, but barley swells up like rice swells up and grain swells up. So we're gonna cook them separately so that we don't have a soggy soup. So I have here 3 cups of water, and the recipe calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Instead of using salt, I'm going to use my 1 chicken bouillon cube. I use chicken bouillon cube when I cook rice, when I cook grits, anything that cooks in water that's going to be a part of a soup, or even my vegetables. Instead of using salt, I always use a low sodium bouillon cube. So I have that in there. So we're going to let this water boil. When it comes to a boil, we're going to add our barley. So this is 1 cup of barley, and it's rinsed. And I don't know why you have to rinse it, but the package says rinse, so we follow directions. What you could do is, instead of making your own turkey broth, you could just cook your turkey. You could also buy turkey already cooked, so it saves you all of that time. You could use chicken broth. Instead of using barley, you could use rice. Rice takes about 20 minutes to cook. You can do that. You could use noodles. You could use any type of pasta. So there are quick ways to this. But for me, for October, which is my birthday month, we're going to cook it low and we're gonna cook it slow. So as you can see here, the water here for our turkey is about to start boiling so that I can turn that down. And I just wanna make sure that everything is equally distributed, because as it cooks, the skin for the turkey is going to shrink and it is going to release the fat and the juices from the turkey wings, and that's what makes a delicious stock. Okay, so it's been 45 minutes for our barley. Looks like this. You can see it's still smoking. Now, we are waiting for our turkey. And as you can see, it has simmered down. But it still has some time to go. I made sure that I tasted the broth, because the broth is what it's going to taste like. And I don't need to add anything. That is great. So the seasonings are, so everything we put into it is good. I am going to add a little sugar, of course, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to add the sugar until we strain the broth. And then we still have our green beans and we still have our carrots, but we're not gonna add this until after we strain it and all we have is the turkey meat and the turkey broth. So it's been about 2 hours. So now we are going to strain our stock. And our turkey is still cooking. And do it like that. Now I have all juices that I'm going to use for our soup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off the skin of our turkey and we're just going to take out the meat. So we have our turkey strained. We have our turkey stock and we have our vegetables that we cooked earlier. What we're going to do is we're just going to put all of this together. It smells so good in this kitchen. We're going to add our turkey. And now we can add our other ingredients. Our green beans. And our carrots. And we're going to add just a little bit of sugar. Just a little bit, about a ½ teaspoon. It tastes so good. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. A cup of heavy cream. Look at that. All the vegetables. So we're going to let that simmer for a minute or two, and we are going to assemble. Again, thanks so much for joining me. Again, my name is Beverly Lucas, and you have been watching For the Love of Cooking Fridays, where I show you how to make a meal at home that is always better than the restaurant. If you like this video, why don't you give me a thumbs up or give me a heart or leave me a message? Most of all, why don't you subscribe to my YouTube channel? I mean, why not?